Kang Jiyoung is introduced as a compassionate individual. When he witnesses his friend being bullied and extorted, with the bullies threatening to destroy a prized possession, Jiyoung steps in. Offering the bullies $100, he saves the item from destruction. His friend, amazed by Jiyoung's altruism, questions why he always seemed so angelic. At school, Jiyoung warmly greets everyone. The scene then shifts to introduce Sujin, who's on cleaning duty alongside Jiyoung. Their task is interrupted by the appearance of the notorious bully, Shin Zion-chil. Unexpectedly, sparks fly between Sujin and the bully, indicating a romantic interest. As this unfolds, a heartbroken Jiyoung observes from afar. Later, a downcast Jiyoung confronts Sujin about her relationship with the bully, to which she confirms their involvement, shattering Jiyoung's hopes. A flashback reveals a younger Sujin, expressing her desire never to end up with someone abusive like her father and voicing her dream of being with a kind-hearted man. Back in the present, Jiyoung, desperate to win Sujin's affections, tries to convince her of his hidden bad boy side, asserting he has the blood of a gangster within. However, Sujin laughs off his attempts, solidifying their relationship as just friends. When the bully invites her to karaoke, Sujin is asked about Jiyoung's feelings for her. She dismisses their connection as merely a childhood friend, leaving Jiyoung devastated. Feeling that his years of kindness amounted to nothing, Jiyoung decides on a drastic change. Arriving home, he's met by 50 Uncle, revealing the truth behind his gangster lineage. Desperate to shed his nice guy image, Jiyoung enlists their help in transforming into the bad boy he believes Sujin desires. They start with a total makeover, including a new hairstyle and attire. The next day at school, Jiyoung's transformation is so drastic that he's almost unrecognizable. Walking into his classroom, he coldly ignores the greetings of his classmates. When Sujin tries to approach him, inviting him to the cafeteria, he initially agrees but then, in a bold move, changes his mind and leaving her to go alone like a Chad, Jiyoung, in an act of rebellion, skips class for the first time ever. He spots the bully, Shin Zion-chil, persuading Lee Ji to accompany him home. When she hesitates and ultimately refuses at his doorstep, he aggressively tries to pull her inside. In defense, she slaps him. From a hidden vantage point, Jiyoung witnesses this. Fueled by anger, he hurls a rock aiming for the bully, but mistakenly hits Lee Ji. Determined, he throws another rock, this time successfully hitting Shin Zion-chil. Seizing the moment, Jiyoung pulls Lee Ji with him, fleeing the scene. They find refuge in a nearby park, where Jiyoung tends to Lee Ji's injury. Introducing himself, Lee Ji recognizes him as Jiyoung, the once kind-hearted student from their class, much to her surprise. She teasingly calls him annoying. As they're tending to her wound, the bully calls Lee Ji, who fabricates a story about not knowing who helped her escape. Meanwhile, as the bully retraces his steps, he discovers something intriguing on the ground. Back at school, Jiyoung's transformation shocks his friends. They remark that he now resembles the school bully, which oddly pleases Jiyoung. Reiterating his intent to embrace his new bad boy persona, his resolve seems unyielding. As Lee Ji joins them, Jiyoung's friends probe, hinting at his heroic act, leaving Jiyoung flustered. He swiftly departs, with Lee Ji tailing him. Amidst this chaos, Jiyoung contemplates the repercussions of his actions. Deciding to abandon his new image, he begins to remove the symbols of his gangster facade, only to discover that a cherished ring, a gift from a dear uncle, has gone missing. In a state of panic, Jiyoung frantically searches for the lost ring. Unexpectedly, he is blindsided with a kick to his back by the bully. Throughout this confrontation, Sujin, Jiyoung's childhood friend, observes silently from the sidelines. When the bully demands answers from the other girl regarding her escape accomplice, she evasively names Song Jong-saik. Jong-saik isn't just any student, he is regarded as the epitome of strength, almost legendary in stature. The bully, although wary of Jong-saik, confronts him. In a bold move, he aggressively kicks Jong-saik's desk, drawing the attention of the entire class. As the bully tries to intimidate Zhang Sayek by grabbing his shirt, Zhang Sayek swiftly retaliates, overpowering him with an iron grip. During this scuffle, Jiyoung spots his treasured ring, the one gifted by his uncle, on the bully's finger. Post-confrontation, Li Ji assists Jiyoung, guiding him towards the nurse's office. All the while, Sujin remains a passive observer. Jiyoung, although shaken, brushes off his injuries and chooses to walk home alone. Upon reaching home, Jiyoung's numerous uncles immediately recognize the signs of an altercation, igniting their protective instincts. However, Hung Nim, the head figure among them, calls for calm. They gather, strategizing on how best to address the situation involving the perpetrator. As the uncles discuss the altercation involving Jiyoung, they're initially disappointed to hear that he didn't throw the first punch. However, their mood lightens when Jiyoung reveals he did retaliate by throwing a rock. Their advice? To assert himself, Jiyoung should target someone weaker. The next day, en route to school, Jiyoung remains preoccupied by the lost ring. Spotting Sujin with the bully exacerbates his resentment. In a surprising twist, Jiyoung spots one of his friends being cornered by Li Ji. She's applying lipstick to Jiyoung, preparing him for a peculiar form of extortion. Jiyoung's covert uncle, observing from the shadows, is delighted seeing him act assertively. Jiyoung demands money from his friend, who naively assumes he'll be reimbursed. After dividing the spoils, Li Ji takes her share and departs. All this while, the bald uncle observes with approval. However, the situation takes a turn when the bald uncle spots the bully wearing Jiyoung's lost ring. Enraged, he resists the urge to confront the bully. Back at school, the principal summons Jiyoung, expressing concern over his recent behavioral changes. When asked to bring his father for a meeting, Jiyoung suggests his uncle instead. A comical situation arises at home when the top-tier uncles engage in a game of rock, paper, scissors to determine the representative. The bald uncle emerges victorious. Dressed like a seasoned gangster, the bald uncle accompanies Jiyoung, teaching him some cool mannerisms on the way. At school, their presence creates a stir. During the meeting, the principal portrays Jiyoung as problematic, irking the bald uncle. Though the uncle brings up instances of student harassment, the principal denies any such occurrences. The tense meeting concludes with the bald uncle's dramatic exit, leaving the principal relieved and vowing internally never to engage with Jiyoung's family again. While the bald uncle contemplates confronting the bully, he realizes he mustn't fight Jiyoung's battles and departs. Simultaneously, the bully ponders over the potential worth of the ring and considers selling it, with a friend offering assistance. As Jiyoung wonders about his uncle's meeting, he requests early dismissal from class, which is granted. At home, a surprise awaits Jiyoung. The uncles are planning a celebration for him, humorously noting his problem child status. A phone call with the bald uncle leaves Jiyoung anxious. Another uncle advises Jiyoung on the importance of confronting his own challenges. Jiyoung hatched a plan to target someone less formidable than himself, aiming to cultivate a bad boy image. While scouting the school corridors, he struggled to find a suitable target. However, luck was on his side in the restroom, where he encountered Sang-gu, a kid he'd previously taken money from. Jiyoung's demeanor shifted to one of malevolence upon spotting his prey. Before initiating a confrontation, he strangely offered an apology. As he accosted Sang-gu, the latter sought help from Song Jong-seo, who coldly ignored the plea and departed. Filled with guilt, Jiyoung released Sang-gu, internally questioning his ability to ever truly be malicious. Word of Jiyoung's actions spread like wildfire. Sujin, perturbed, approached Jiyoung for a heart-to-heart. Jiyoung, defensive, declined the conversation, accusing her of changing. Just then, the main bully ambushed Jiyoung, pummeling him relentlessly. With Jiyoung immobilized, the bully's gang joined the onslaught. As the bully prepared to strike Sujin, Jiyoung, fueled by anger and desperation, vowed revenge. Throughout the commotion, Zhang Sayek observed keenly. When Shin Jiyoung attempted to punch, he was thwarted by a powerful punch from Zhang Sayek, who, alongside Jiyoung Kik, left the bully defenseless and near unconsciousness. Shin Guyan Chio lay sprawled on the floor, bearing the aftermath of a brutal beating delivered by the menacing Zhang Siak. The bullies, having relinquished their hold on Zhang, hastily retreated. Zhang Siak came to Shin's aid, gently lifting him up and carrying him to the nurse's office, where he found respite on the infirmary bed. Meanwhile, Li Jie grew increasingly worried as she rushed to the nurse's office, her concern for him perplexing her. Upon entering the room, she discovered Shin Ji-eung, who was tearfully clutching his face as if drifting into slumber. Inquiring about his well-being, she offered him some snacks, her presence leaving him mystified. However, Li Jie's mood shifted to anger upon learning of the situation. She left the snacks behind and walked away, leaving Shin Ji-eung bewildered by the sudden turn of events. As Shin Ji-eung stood up, trying to make sense of the situation, Sujin entered the room. He feigned sleep once more upon her arrival. Sujin noticed the abandoned snacks left by Li Jie and discarded them in the bin, contemplating the reckless move. Just as she was about to touch him, the school nurse arrived, inquiring about his injuries. Sujin fabricated a story, claiming he had fallen down the stairs, attempting to shield her boyfriend. The nurse, oblivious to the deception, sternly insisted that no one could enter the room while Shin Ji sobbed in front of her. Meanwhile, Shin Guyan Chio pondered the possibility of selling a ring he had in his possession. A friend offered assistance in finding a suitable buyer. Suddenly, Li Ji called out to him, demanding a private conversation. As their friends departed, she questioned his sanity but couldn't help but notice his battered face. Sujin observed her talking to her boyfriend with growing unease, worried that Li Ji might have romantic intentions. She pushed Shin Ji's arm away and confronted him. Sujin's abrupt outburst drew the attention of those present. Shin Ji clarified that he was not in a relationship with Li Yeji and decided to end his relationship with Sujin, causing her to break into sobs and collapse on the floor, tears streaming down her face. Meanwhile, Zhang left the nurse's room, realizing that he needed to become stronger to confront the bullies. Upon returning home, he found all of his uncles kneeling with their heads lowered. A voice, which turned out to be his father's, revealed itself as the leader of the Fire Bear gang. Jian hurriedly took his place at his father's request. Curious about his father's return, Ji-eung inquired why he had come back. He had heard that Ji-eung had become a problematic child and wanted to assess the situation firsthand. To his dismay, he discovered that Ji-eung's face bore the signs of a recent beating. Concerned for his son's future, the father instructed the uncles to initiate his successor training immediately. However, Ji burst into tears, revealing that he had also endured a difficult few years. His father, resorting to a threat, warned of exile if Ji refused to undertake the successor's training. The ultimatum left Ji with a decision to make, and he promised to respond by the following day. Xian, visibly shaken, rushed to take a shower to clear her mind. One of the uncles entered and pleaded with Jian to accept the successor training. Jian contemplated the offer, realizing that it would equip him with the strength needed to protect what he held dear. A call from Sujin interrupted his thoughts. She cried over the phone, prompting Jian to resolve to protect her. He contacted his uncles and announced his decision to accept the successor training, determined to become strong enough to confront the adversaries, including Guyan Chio. The bald uncle then revealed that Ji-eung had lost his soul ring and expressed a desire to confront the person who had found it. Jian, however, insisted on handling the matter himself, earning the uncle's pride. They changed into their battle uniforms and began with a basic physical fitness test to assess the young master's strength. Jian struggled with squatting the bar and bench pressing 20 kilograms. Concerned about his potential weakness, the uncle administered a deadlift test. To their surprise, Jian effortlessly lifted the bar and even managed additional weights. The uncle recognized Jian's incredible strength, attributed to his assistance to elderly people with heavy loads. Next, they tested his grip strength with an arm wrestling match in front of the other uncles. Jian's grip was astonishingly strong, leaving the bald uncle struggling. They rested briefly, and the uncle explained that Jian had the potential to become even stronger. He emphasized the importance of beginning intense, isolated training immediately, which would entail cutting off communication with the outside world. 3 days passed, and Zhang Xia started wondering about Jiani's whereabouts. He asked his friends, but none had any information. As Zhang Xia headed home, he encountered his little sister, who inquired about the absence of the kind person known as Jian in their neighborhood. She requested Zhang Xia's assistance for him, as he appeared quite frail. Later that evening, Zhang Xia arrived at the entrance of Jiang's house, where a couple of uncles recognized him. He introduced himself as Ji's friend, which changed their attitude, allowing him inside. However, they were scolded by another uncle for allowing a potential stranger in. After confirming Zhang Xi's identity, Yun Nem summoned Gai Sang and Zhang Xia. Zhang Xia introduced himself as a member of the school's judo club, as they had met before. Zhang Xia was surprised to learn that Gai Sang was Yang's uncle. Zhang Xia then noticed Kong Ji-ung training and asked him to spar. He mentioned the significant difference in their strength, and the uncle smirked, revealing that Zhang was not practicing judo. As they sparred, Zhang Xia was knocked to the ground, and then Gai Sang playfully tickled Zhang the 110th's leg. Zhang Xia, clearly in pain, attempted to punch Jian, but he skillfully dodged the blow. Zhang Xia, barely able to stand, received a punch to the neck from Jian, puzzled by his seemingly cowardly fighting style. As they continued sparring, Jian collapsed from exhaustion, leaving Zhang the 110th wondering how he had lost to someone like Shin Zion Chil. The uncle explained that it was because Jian had never fought before and typically avoided confrontations. He thanked Zhang Xia for his assistance and offered him some food, which Zhang Xia accepted. The uncle prepared a nice steak for them, and Jian Sang asked if Zhang Xia could continue training the young master once a week. Zhang Xia politely declined, citing his responsibility to care for his younger sister and his judo classes. However, with a quick phone call, Gai Sang managed to adjust Zhang Xia's judo class schedule to accommodate training the young master. As they finished their meal, and Zhang Xia departed, Jian gave him a bag of beef for his younger sister. The next day at school, Li Yiji attempted to contact Jian but received no response. She had also asked his friends for information. The next day at school, Li Yiji attempted to contact Jian but received no response. She had also asked his friends for information. They discussed his whereabouts, but their uncertainty persisted. The conversation shifted to League of Legends, where she revealed her platinum rank. Frustrated with the lack of help from others, she noticed Zhang Xia, who mentioned he was heading to Ji Young's house. Her blush was undeniable, a telltale sign of her fondness for Zhang. She decided to follow him to Ji Young's house, and as they walked together, Du Park, Li Yeji's brother, took notice of them. Meanwhile, Shin Guyang Chio and his friend were at a pawn shop, attempting to sell the ring. Suddenly, a group of uncles closed the shutters, trapping them inside. Jay Sang donned his knuckle dusters as the bully cursed, bewildered by the situation. It was revealed that Shin Guyang Chil's friend had betrayed them. Jay Sang punched the bully in the stomach, warning him that the rightful owner would come for the ring, and if he sold it, he would face dire consequences. Jay Sang also noticed the bully's excessive hair and asked for a shaver, reducing him to tears. Zhang Sek and Li Ji arrived at Ji Young's house and were warmly welcomed. Jay Sang was introduced to Li Yeji and was surprised to learn that the young master had a girlfriend, causing her to blush and respond, "Not yet," to the others. Zhang entered, causing her to blush once more. They all sat down to eat together, and Zhang explained why he couldn't attend school due to closed-door training, during which he couldn't communicate with anyone outside. As the closed-door training ended, he retrieved his phone, and Li Yiji panicked, asking him not to read her messages aloud and to check them after she left, much to Zhang Xia's amusement. He also provided Zhang Xia with more food for his sister as they departed. The next day, he prepared to leave for school, donning a new uniform. To his surprise, Most of his uncles were waiting to accompany him to school, forming an impromptu motorcade. On their way to school, they made a quick stop, and Jian encountered Shin Zhang-chio, realizing it was his chance to reclaim the soul ring. Zhang placed his hand on Shin Zhang-chio's collarbone and used his deadly move, the pickaxe, causing Shin Zhang-chio to scream in agony. In desperation, he kicked the young master away but spotted Jae Sang in the alleyway, warning him of his impending doom. Shin Zhang-chio noticed Ji Young's outfit, identical to the one worn by the person who had thrown a rock at him that fateful day. Enraged, he lunged towards Ji Young with the intent to punch him, only for his punch to be caught by Ji Young, who started crushing his hand, breaking it. Ji Young instructed him to get up, readying himself for another punch, while Jae Sang watched from a distance. He comes to the realization that he needs to face Jian's beating. We then revisit the pawnshop scene in a flashback, where Jae Sang proceeds to cut all of Shin Vian-chil's hair. It turns out that his friend's hair and eyebrows had also met the same fate at the hands of Gai Sang. Zhang, in a face-off, punches Shin Vian-chil as he simply stands there, taking the blows. After falling down, he gathers the strength to rise once more, but Jian swiftly executes the pickaxe move again, taking the soul ring from him. Jae Sang and the other uncles come out to congratulate him and escort Shin Vian-chil away. The young master returns to the car, and upon their arrival at the school's entrance, the students are left bewildered, wondering about the unusual spectacle unfolding before them. The uncles create a path for Jian to walk through, bowing to him in reverence, leaving the students in shock as they discover his association with the gangster world. Zhang Xia praised him for his dramatic entrance, and Li Ji joined them as they walked together. The principal called a meeting where they deliberated on what to do with Zhang, all sharing a common fear that he hailed from a family with ties to gangsters. The principal shocked the rest of the teachers by deciding to transfer him to another school. Meanwhile, in another part of the story, we were introduced to Wang Dahayan, the third-year student council president, who was both surprised and suspicious of Jian upon learning that he was the son of a gangster. Kang Jiyoung walked into his classroom only to be greeted with curses from one of his classmates, while the rest of the students began gossiping about him. He grew increasingly concerned that his entire class had turned against him. Fleeing from the classroom, he bumped into some of his friends who, to his dismay, also ignored him. His childhood friends berated him, accusing him of hiding the fact that he was the son of a gangster. One of his friends expressed frustration that Jian hadn't confided in him, and this triggered a flashback to 10 years ago when Jian had made the decision to keep his family's background a secret. Even though 10 years had passed, he had never revealed the truth to his friend. When they saw Li Yiji and Song Jong-sok approaching them, they said to Kang Jiyoung, "Here are your friends, the bully Li Yeji and the top fighter Song Jong-sok." Zhang broke down, seeking solace in the fresh air outside. Song Jok attempted to console him, but Li Ji noted that he was not acting like himself. He then questioned why Li Ji could smoke to feel better while he couldn't. She threw her cigarette down in anger as she stopped smoking. Jian began to realize that people were treating him unfairly solely because he was the son of a gangster, even though he had always acted kindly towards everyone. He was taken aback by how everyone had turned against him. A phone call from the student council president prompted him to meet on the school rooftop. The president inquired if he was the son of a gangster, and Zhang questioned the significance of this information. The president explained that it could affect the school's atmosphere and potentially spread to other schools, remarking that this situation was unlike Jian. This remark made Jian tense up, and he hit the wall before walking away. Meanwhile, Shin Zhang-chio continued to endure the beatings from the uncles and was advised to drop out of school. He contemplated revenge and considered Zhang's weaknesses, recalling his childhood friend Sujin. As Zhang Xiak roamed the school, he noticed Zhang Yun sitting on a bench and mentioned how Zhang was struggling because the entire school had turned against him. He encouraged his friend not to fear Jian, as he was a nice guy and only afraid of his uncles. His friend realized he had been too emotional toward Jian earlier and decided to find him and apologize. Back in class, two students, Zhang Jie and Seongdi, entered, looking for Jian to talk to him. Since he wasn't there, they left and encountered Zhang Silk, causing one of them to panic. Meanwhile, Sujin searched for Shin Zion Chili, noticing his beaten state and wondering what had happened. He explained that Zhang was responsible, and she asked if Zhang had any weaknesses. After some thought, she realized that she was his weakness and smirked, knowing she could use that to her advantage. They walked together to his home, and Sujin asked if they were dating again, to which he responded affirmatively. As they entered his apartment, their intentions were quite clear. Lee Yi-ji's friends inquired if she was dating Jian, and she clarified that they weren't but admitted she liked him, not because he was a gangster. Suddenly, the two students previously mentioned approached them, asking if they knew where Jian was. Jian appeared behind them, surprising them since they remembered him as a total loser. They attempted to greet him, but he ignored their handshakes with a cold expression. Jian asked if they were friends with Shin Jung-chil, and they confirmed it. When he shook their hands, he crushed their grips, causing them to drop to their knees in pain. As they fled, Lee Yi-ji watched, and her reaction indicated she was intrigued by what she had witnessed. He then asked Lee Yeji for assistance in informing all the school's bullies that he intended to confront and defeat them. As Sujin and Shin Jian-chio returned to school, the two beaten students revealed that they had been defeated by Jian alone, surprising Shin Guyang-chio. He contemplated seeking assistance from Du Park to gather as many bullies as possible to confront the gangsters. Meanwhile, Lee Yeji began sharing details about the bullies' alliance with neighboring schools. She started with the top guy in their school, Du Park, who happened to be friends with Jong Sok. She also revealed that Du Park was her older brother. The group of bullies led by Shin Guyang-chil consisted of 11 individuals, and they were part of the Super Alliance, an alliance formed by other schools, which comprised over 100 members. Zhang made a decision to prioritize unity within his school rather than solely focusing on defeating every bully to establish his reputation as the toughest. The third-year council president asked Du Park if he had any information about Jian, but Du Park had no insights. Shin Guyang-chil encountered Du Park, who was visibly agitated by his bruised face. As Du Park removed his cap and laughed, they discussed their plans regarding Zhang and also mentioned Zhang Siak. Du Park expressed that Shin Zion Chili was more important to him than Zhang Siak. Their plan involved bringing Zhang Siak into the gymnasium for a one-on-one fight, with the other bullies prepared to jump in to assist him. Du Park informed the rest of the bullies about this plan before they put it into action. As Jian and Lee Yi-jae returned to class, John Yoon awaited them, and they reconciled, becoming friends again. After school, they all went to Jian's house together. However, one of Jian's uncles mentioned that he had special training and wouldn't be able to attend school for a few days, so they bid him farewell. The next day, as Zhang Siak entered the classroom to sleep, Shin Zion-chil initiated their plan by slapping him while he was sleeping, shocking the entire class. They ordered him to come to the gymnasium, and he fled as instructed. Upon arriving at the gymnasium, all the bullies, including those from the Super Alliance, were waiting for him. Zhang Siak got up and decided to head to the gymnasium. Shin Guyang-chio instructed them to attack, but nobody made a move, which made him panic. Zhang Siak punched him in the face, leaving everyone watching in astonishment. As he wondered why Du Park was not responding to the signal, Jian arrived and attempted to punch him. However, Jian skillfully dodged the blow and used his special move, the pickaxe, grabbing Shin Guyang-chio's hand and squeezing it tightly. When Shin Guyang-chio tried to use a knife, Dai Sang reminded him that weapons were prohibited in a one-on-one fight. Panicking, he dropped the knife after noticing that both of his friends had shaved their heads bald. Shin Guyang-chio claimed the fight was unfair because he had been punched by Zhang Siak. Jian then requested that he take a punch as well to level the playing field, shocking everyone. Zhang leapt onto Shin Guyang-chio, pinning him to the ground and delivering a series of punches. Zhang Siak intervened to stop him when Shin Guyang-chio lost consciousness. Jian then informed the remaining bullies that they were the next targets. Mayeonjun tried to explain himself to Jian, but he slapped his hand away, asserting that he would also go after the Super Alliance. As they were about to fight, Du Park urged both of them to calm down, explaining that the purpose of this was to welcome the Fire Bear Gang's successor. As they all left, Jae Sang congratulated the young master for his actions that day. As Jian and Zhang walked out, Zhang shared how he had expected to feel good after beating Shin Guyang Chio but didn't. Zhang Siak advised him to think about the direction he wanted to take. Du Park thanked Jae Sang and revealed that they were close friends from the judo club. Jae Sang then visited the unconscious Shin Guyang Chio and used his trusty razor to shave him completely. Shin Jong Chul wakes up, irritated to find himself bald, and feels betrayed by everyone, including his friends. Feeling he has nothing left to lose, he begins plotting his revenge. Jiyoung, realizing he's become a negative influence, decides to confess his feelings to his crush, Soo Jin, but she doesn't answer his call. This surprises him as she typically does. When he gets home, his father celebrates Jiyoung's new status as the boss of the second year. They have some champagne, but Jiyoung doesn't like it, so the others finish it off. Later, on the rooftop, his father suggests Jiyoung burn all his award certificates to show he's gone rogue. Jiyoung goes through with it, feeling a need for change. While contemplating whether to call Soo Jin again, Jiyoung gets a call from Lee Yeji. They meet at the park, the same place they once got into mischief together. Jiyoung checks her face for scars, which makes her blush, and she leaves in a hurry. Meanwhile, Shin Jong Chul gathers a group to share his revenge plan. Some think he's lost it and leave, while others are intrigued. At school, the third-year council president informs Jiyoung that the head teacher plans to transfer him. Jiyoung proposes a plan to eradicate school violence, suggesting that if he handles the unruly students, the entire school would benefit. After some persuasion, the head teacher agrees. Later, as Jiyoung and his friend Song Jong-sok walk home, they discover that the younger girl Jiyoung once protected is actually Jong-sok's sister. The next day, while Jiyoung is walking around, he runs into Da-eun on again and they enjoy some fish cakes and play in the park. Little do they know, Shin Jong-chul is watching. Jong-sok, weakened from a recent workout. He sees this as the perfect opportunity to strike. They all rush up to him with bats, and because he lacks leg strength, he begins to be beaten up but manages to punch a couple of them in the face while doing so. Unfortunately, he loses consciousness for a moment after being hit in the head, and they tied him up. Suddenly Jiyoung and his little sister returned from playing and they noticed Jong-sok had been kidnapped, causing Jiyoung to rage and his little sister to cry. Jiyoung vows to bring him back safely. He comforts Da-eun, telling her that everything will be fine. When they arrive at his house, he asks his uncles for assistance, but they are all drunk and asleep. He is about to report this to the police when he receives a call from Soo Jin. He picks up, and it is Shin Jong-chul who gives him the address and threatens to kill Jong-sok and Soo Jin if he shows up with his uncles or backup. As he walks out, Lee Yeji is waiting outside and offers him a ride. He ends up explaining the situation to her. They arrive at the construction site. Lee Yeji is concerned for him because Shin Jong-chul will not be fighting him alone. Meanwhile, he slaps the tied-up Jong-sok, who's powerless. Soo Jin wonders if he'll slap Jiyoung like that, to which he responds that of course he will, and is considering hitting Soo Jin as well. Soo Jin realizes she now hates bad boys. The other bullies are concerned that he will appear with his uncles, but Shin Jong-chul has someone waiting for them in the parking lot. Jiyoung arrives alone, surprising everyone. As one of the bullies lunges at Jiyoung, he dodges the punch and grabs his arm, kneeing him in the face. He asks Shin Jong-chul to release the hostages. Jiyoung threatens to tear Gwangwoo's hair from his head, which Shin Jong-chul does not care about. Jiyoung grabs him and punches him in the face. As the rest of the bullies swarm on him, he grabs one of their legs and bites it, causing him to scream. Lee Yeji is watching from a distance and notices Jong-sok is tied up, and tries to untie him secretly. Soo Jin suddenly shouts her name, alerting everyone and causing her to get smacked in the head by a plank, knocking her out. Jiyoung is distracted and is hit in the chest and smacked by a pole. As Shin Jong-chul was about to swing, Jong-sok punches him in the face, and Jiyoung uses the opportunity to untie Soo Jin, who claims her legs are numb and falls into Jiyoung's arms. Lee Yeji watches as they lunge at them. Jong Sok grabs one of their arms and flips it, smashing it into the ground, while another hits him with a plank from behind before being punched. Ji-young is amazed, but Jong Sok is still in pain and can't move as well. Shin Jong-chul tries to hit Ji-young with a bat, but he dodges it, grabbing Shin Jong-chul's collar and throwing him, forehead first. The rest of the bullies are terrified that Ji-young may now be as strong as Jong Sok. When another bully tries to punch him, he grabs his punch and crushes his arm, sending him to his knees, while Jong Sok protects his back. In a panic, Shin Jong-chul summons the person who is waiting in the parking lot for assistance. The attackers converge on Jong Sok again, targeting him because of his immobilized state. Although he manages to retaliate, striking them one by one, they target his legs, weakening his stance and power. While Ji-young is momentarily distracted by this, Shin Jong-chul lands a punch on him. Simultaneously, a new character enters the scene, a man dispatched by an upper-rank member of the Fire Bear gang named Se Wong. As the scuffle continues between Ji-young and Shin Jong-chul, the latter narrowly avoids a punch and counters with a solid blow to Ji-young's abdomen. Shin Jong-chul anxiously checks his phone, probably awaiting some backup, but is caught off guard by another punch from Ji-young. In a desperate move, Shin Jong-chul brandishes a knife and charges at Ji-young, but the newly arrived man stands right behind Ji-young. Although Jong Sok tries to shout a warning, it's too late. Ji-young is struck hard in the face. In an attempt to retaliate, Ji-young employs a move known as potato crush, but it fails against this formidable adversary. In a sudden recall, Ji-young remembers a special technique Gai Sang taught him for overpowering stronger opponents. He executes the flying pickaxe and infinite pickaxe, bringing the man momentarily to his knees. Just as Ji-young is about to secure his advantage, the man overpowers him. However, the approaching sound of police sirens interrupts the fight. The man makes a hasty retreat, escaping in a van, even as Ji-young's uncles arrive at the scene. Jong Sok, now in control, has Shin Jong-chul pinned, demanding to know about young masters. Realizing that another gang might be involved and seeing Ji-young's battered appearance, he releases his wrath on Shin Jong-chul. With the situation under control, they head to the awaiting police officers. In a quiet moment, Soo-jin and Ji-young share a walk. She confesses her feelings for him, revealing she's harbored these sentiments for a decade. To her disappointment, Ji-young remains non-committal, suggesting they head back. His cold demeanor leaves Soo-jin devastated and crying. Meanwhile, Lee Yeji and Ji-young share a cute moment on a bike ride, which is interrupted when they are collected by one of Ji-young's uncles. At the police station, the attackers are informed that they'll face criminal charges. To further complicate matters, there's suspicion of a traitor within the Fire Bear gang. As they leave the station, one of Ji-young's uncles playfully ensures Ji-young and Lee Yeji sit close together during the ride, teasing Lee Yeji about her obvious feelings for Ji-young. They eventually drop the duo off, leaving them with their bike, immersed in their own world. As they ride her bike to his house, they spend some time talking. He ends up complimenting her, which makes her flustered. She tentatively moves in for a kiss, but Ji-young, confused about what's happening, hesitates, leading her to become frustrated. She walks away, cursing him under her breath. Suddenly, Da-eun appears with Jong Sok. He explains that Da-eun wanted to check on Ji-young to ensure he was okay. Meanwhile, Lee Yeji departs on her bike. Jong Sok tells Ji-young that he needs to discuss the Super Asshole Alliance. He mentions that with Shin Jong-chul's defeat, Ji-young is determined to train harder to face any challenges. Jong Sok insists that he will confront the alliance too, since he believes he will be targeted regardless. They decide to form their own alliance. In the house, Da-eun is crafting bear-shaped cookies with Gai Sang, and they joyfully perform the bear song dance. Uncle Jae observes, bemused, and as he's about to question Gai Sang's antics, he charges to confront him. However, Da-eun intervenes, explaining that the little girl is Jong Sok's sister. Realizing his misjudgment, Uncle Jae apologizes and joins in on the fun. When Ji-young and Jong Sok arrive and see them, they also jump in and dance together. The senior members of the gang inform Ji-young that their attacker is from their own ranks. When asked to describe him, they recall a significant scar on his face. The revelation that a traitor exists within their gang infuriates them, but they are determined to unearth him. As the discussion concludes, Gai Sang divulges that he was once the leader of the Super Asshole Alliance, and that the current head is Do Park. Upon reaching her home, Lee Yeji disregards Do Park and retreats to her room. Shortly after, Do Park receives a call from Gai Sang, who requests him to provide Ji-young with details about the alliance. Without hesitation, Do Park agrees. Inside her room, as Lee Yeji ponders over Jiyoung, Do Park barges in. He proposes that if she conveys information about the alliance to Jiyoung, it would facilitate a closer relationship between them. Moreover, Do Park realizes that if Lee Yeji and Jiyoung unite in marriage, he'd be the brother-in-law to the head of the Fire Bear Gang. Lee Si-won, one of the upper ranks in the Fire Bear Gang, slaps Min Woo, who is in charge of the person that attacked Jiyoung. Si-won asks, "Why are you trembling so much?" As they leave, they throw away all the evidence, kicking a barrel into the ocean. He gets a call from Yang Jae-wook, asking to meet up tomorrow, but he hears seagulls in the background and wonders if he's too late because they disposed of the evidence the next day. Jiyoung leaves for school. The uncle secretly follows him from behind as they have a meeting to ensure the young master is constantly watched over. Jiyoung notices Jong Sok and says hello. He also notices the uncles in the background but keeps his mouth shut. They also run into Lee Yeji and Jong Yoon as they walk together. They bump into Won Ik, who tells them to watch where they are going. Jiyoung recognizes him and extends his hand to greet him. He mentions that Myung Jun has something to tell him and requests to speak in private as they shake hands. He smirks and begins squeezing it, asking why he's the one here and if Myung Jun has something to tell him. He tells him to come here himself before crushing his hand and sending him to his knees. He begins to flee, but Jiyoung pursues him. As he arrives in an alleyway to his friends, Jiyoung is right behind him, wondering why Sang Ji-yu is being extorted. As one of them tries to punch Jiyoung, he dodges it and pummels him in the face, sending him to the floor. Jong Sok arrives, and they all begin to panic. As Jiyoung prepares to fight them, Myung Jun pulls up on his bike, asking to talk to Jiyoung. He tells his friends to leave, as he does not want to fight and only wants to talk. Sang Ji-yu encourages Jiyoung to fight them all, which irritates Lee Yeji to the point where he starts talking back to her and walks away. He mentions that he wants to form an alliance with them, surprising them. Jong Sok believes that it will be beneficial to them. Myung Jun leaves, telling them to think about it. Jiyoung, disappointed that he did not get to fight Myung Jun, calms down and walks to school. At school, the atmosphere has completely changed. They discover that the news of Shin Jong-chul and his goons had spread, and that he had been expelled. The rumors spread to other schools, and Jiyoung has now become the boss of the second year. As they enter the classroom, Lee Yeji tells him to sit next to her, as she has something to tell him about the Super Asshole Alliance. She informs him about the bullies at other schools and their tactics. He thanks her while Sang Ji-yu watches, feeling annoyed. He offers to take her out to eat as a way of showing gratitude. Soo Jin enters the classroom, glances at Jiyoung, sees that he is with Lee Yeji, and then looks away, ignoring Jiyoung before leaving the classroom. Jiyoung follows her, but Soo Jin continues to ignore him, thinking about how he lied to her. He returns to class, telling Lee Yeji that he is fine, but it's clear that he is not. He had only become a bad person for Soo Jin, and he is unsure of what to do now. As the lesson is over, she asks him to eat together, where he invites the whole squad, annoying her as she wanted to spend some time alone with Jiyoung only. Jong Sok and Jong Yoon knew what was going on. As they were eating, Jiyoung receives a message from his uncle asking him to return home early. As they say their goodbyes, Lee Yeji is disappointed that they did not get to spend much time together. However, he ends up asking her to meet with him later to discuss the Super Asshole Alliance. She suggests meeting at her house, which he agrees to. Jiyoung arrives at his house, where his father greets him, proud that he has taken over the second years. He gives him a gift, which turns out to be a knife carved with his name. His father takes pictures of him holding the knife as he is so proud of him. Meanwhile, Si-won is annoyed that Yang Jae-wook was having a good time babysitting the young master while he got his hands dirty. His father tells him to go beyond the second year, to which he agrees as he leaves with Si-won. Si-won is considering what to do if Jae-wook surpasses him in the rankings. He has devised another plan to prevent Jae-wook from ranking up with his recent success with the young master. Later that night, Lee Yeji is cleaning the house for Jiyoung's arrival when suddenly Do Park enters, even though she told him not to come. When he finds out Jiyoung is coming, he offers to help her clean up. Once they are finished cleaning, she receives a call from Jiyoung, informing her that he is on his way. When he arrives at the door, Lee Yeji immediately opens it and lets him in. They go into her room, and he realizes this is the first time he has been in a girl's room. She begins by explaining the Super Asshole Alliance, mentioning Jo Eun-ho, a bully basketball player who was lost by her brother Do Park. She then tells him about Majin High School, to which he responds by saying to tell him more tomorrow as he walks away. She offers to drop him off, but he says he can walk alone, which irritates Lee Yeji because he is so clueless. On his way home, Guy Sang is waiting at the door, asking where he went. He says he went to Lee Yeji's house, and he is shocked that he wore clothes like that and not some of the cool drip clothes the uncle has. The next day, he prepares to leave for school. While Jo Eun-ho plays basketball and wonders when Ji-young will arrive, on his way to school, he notices Jong Sok. Jong Sok mentions that the people around him are gossiping about him, but Ji-young is unconcerned and will focus on beating up the bullies. When they arrive at the basketball court, they see Jo Eun-ho. He proposes that they form an alliance, but Ji-young declines. They have a one-on-one fight as everyone watches, and Jo Eun-ho passes the ball to Ji-young, distracting him and causing him to be punched in the face. Ji-young realizes he needs to close the gap, but he passes the ball again, resulting in him being punched in the face once more. As he tries again, he tricks Ji-young, causing him to get punched in the face once more. Ji-young, having had enough, pops the basketball with his bare hands, shocking everyone. Jo Eun-ho is in a state of panic, wondering if it's even possible to burst a basketball with your bare hands. Ji-young approaches him as it is now his turn. As Jo Eun-ho attempts to punch him, Ji-young places the popped basketball on his head, completely covering his face before pummeling him in the face. Ji-young grabs his head and asks him what he can see, which is nothing, and he mentions that this will be his future. At which point, Ji-young begins his new technique, ultra-speed dribble, constantly tossing his head side to side. The rest of the bullies are worried, thinking it's overkill. As one of them tries to stop Ji-young, Jong Sok prevents him. Ji-young, exhausted, finally stops. Do Park and the third-year council president were watching from the rooftop. Ji-young tells the rest of the bullies to come at him, but they are hesitant and stand back. He tells them that because they are in the same school, he will beat them up last, which frustrates a few of them. Suddenly, one of the bullies bows to them and asks for an alliance, prompting the rest to follow. Jong Sok tells Ji-young to remember the advice he gave him, prompting him to agree that they can help take down the Super Asshole Alliance. They shake on it, where one of the bullies warns him not to, but he does it anyway, surprising Ji-young as they walk away. Do Park and the council president are watching, and Do Park mentions that he will invite him to the rooftop to carry out his plan. Now on the rooftop, he explains that he is the leader of the Super Asshole Alliance and that if he defeats him, he will become the boss of Ji-ran High School. As he prepares to fight Do Park, he mentions that he can't fight him because he secretly promised Guy Sang that he would protect the young master and allow him to become the boss so that he could become a family member of the Fire Bear Gang. He tells him to hit him, and he'll make up a rumor that he lost. Ji-young is reluctant to carry out the hit, so Do Park goes with Plan B and hits himself in the face, surprising Ji-young and Jong Yoon, who is secretly watching. As he severely beats himself up, he announces that Ji-young is the new leader of Ji-ran High. As he leaves, the council president is waiting at the stairs to inform him that there is no turning back. He is okay with it as it's all part of his plan. Ji-young is now the boss of Ji-ran High. Meanwhile, a few of the bullies take the basketball off Jo Eun-ho's head, and it's clear from his face that he has been severely beaten. As Do Park walks down the hall, all bruised and beaten, the students are shocked. He makes sure to let everyone know that Ji-young was responsible for his injuries. This revelation surprises everyone, and rumors of Ji-young's new position as the leader of the school spread quickly throughout the entire school community. It turns out that Jong Yoon, who had been secretly observing the situation, had made contact with Guy Sang a few days prior. In exchange for sharing information about Ji-young's school life, Jong Yoon was given some financial support and protection. He sends Guy Sang the message that Ji-young has become the school boss. He also informs Jae-wook, who passes the information to his father, who is proud of the news. As Ji-young walks down the hall, everyone is whispering and talking about him, moving out of his way. Meanwhile, Lee Yeji is dreaming about Ji-young and is awakened by a phone call from her friends who inform her that Do Park fought Ji-young, making her panic. She phones Do Park, inquiring about his whereabouts before rushing to see him in person. She notices his face is badly bruised and wonders if he truly fought with Ji-young. She asks him if he hit Ji-young, and upon receiving confirmation, punches him in the face and runs out, feeling anxious and worried that Ji-young might have been hurt. As Ji-young exits the room, he notices Lee Yeji, who is crying. She rushes to embrace him and pleads for him to hug her back. Later, as class begins, their interactions become awkward and tense due to the hug. The awkwardness between Ji-young and Lee Yeji is so noticeable that it begins to attract attention from their classmates. During class, he receives a phone call from Soo Jin and abruptly leaves to meet her. She reveals to him that her abusive father is terminally ill and has less than a month to live. Ji-young is shocked and saddened and attempts to comfort her. Do Park, who happens to be nearby, observes the interaction and becomes frustrated as he hadn't realized there could be competition for Ji-young's love. As Ji-young and Soo-jin walk together, she inquires if he will always be there to support her during difficult times. Myung-jun, who is riding his bike, notices them and pulls over. Ji-young gives him his number and tells him they will talk later, as he is currently busy. Myung-jun then proceeds to flirt with Soo-jin and requests her phone number, causing Ji-young to feel frustrated. Ji-young grabs Myung-jun's arm, pointing out that Soo-jin is uncomfortable with how he's acting. Myung-jun responds that he's fallen for her at first sight, which annoys Ji-young even more. The situation heats up, and Ji-young tightens his grip on Myung-jun's wrist. Trying to avoid a fight, Myung-jun tells Ji-young to let go, but Ji-young doesn't. Just as Myung-jun is about to react, Soo-jin steps in, and they both apologize to each other, diffusing the tension. As Myung-jun leaves, he tells Ji-young about a future celebration party he's planning and invites him. Soo-jin then asks Ji-young to walk her home, and he agrees. Watching from afar, Do Park isn't pleased with how Ji-young handled everything. During their walk, Soo-jin brings up an old topic. Does Ji-young still have feelings for her? He's reluctant to answer, and she gets upset, accusing him of not being the person she thought he was. Ji-young explains that he tried to be the bad guy she wanted, but it never worked out. He thinks it's time they both moved on. He tells Soo-jin they can't be friends if she continues behaving this way. As he walks away, she cries but then starts laughing in a sinister manner, revealing a hidden mark and hinting at future trouble for Ji-young. Do Park and Myung-jun watch this from a distance, with Do Park being impressed by Ji-young's resilience. Back at his hideout, Myung-jun's friends ask about Ji-young. He tells them they're teaming up to take down the Super Asshole Alliance, shocking them. He also mentions the upcoming celebration for Ji-young. Yang Jian isn't interested and asks to be excluded, especially since he doesn't care for the Fire Bear gang. As he leaves, two girls, Chae-yoon and Eun-ha, show up. Myung-jun invites them to the party, hinting that Ji-young will be there. Chae-yoon is curious if Ji-young might be her type. When Ji-young reaches the school, Do Park greets him with respect and asks if he's dating anyone and how he feels about Lee Ye-ji, mentioning that she would be a good catch before leaving. During the lesson, she fears a call might be from Soo-jin, but then Ji-young enters, irritating the teacher. However, the teacher doesn't react due to his fear of Guy Sang. Lee Ye-ji asks Ji-young where he's been, and although he fibs, she seems uninterested. Ji-young then notices Lee Ye-ji's beauty and compliments her, surprising her so much she stands and slams her desk. The intimidated teacher sends her to the back of the class instead of confronting Ji-young. As she's in the back, she wonders if they might start dating and if Ji-young's compliment was a confession. Sang Ji-yu, jealous of Lee Ye-ji's closeness to Ji-young, contemplates confronting her. When class ends, Lee Ye-ji wants to chat with Ji-young, but she gets called to the teacher's office. Jong-yoon points out Ji-young's decade-long crush on Soo-jin, which annoys Ji-young. They consider going to a PC cafe. Jong-yoon suggests Ji-young invite Lee Ye-ji since she's good at a certain game. When Lee Ye-ji returns from the teacher, she tries to kiss Ji-young, but he's more interested in discussing game tactics. He invites her to play, and she agrees, but asks for a yet unnamed favor in return. Ji-young invites more friends to the PC cafe, but Jong-sok smartly keeps them from joining, so only Ji-young and Lee Ye-ji go. While they're gaming, two guys recognize Lee Ye-ji and question Ji-young. When they say they're from the Fire Bear gang, Ji-young calls his uncles for backup, recalling a past warning about Fire Bear gang impersonators. The two challenge Ji-young on etiquette, but when Ji-young stands, they panic upon seeing his stature and ask if he's from Ji-ran High. They then try to recruit him, but suddenly Guy Sang appears. Ji-young asks if they are the Fire Bear members, to which Guy Sang replied that the Fire Bear gang doesn't have trash like them. The imposters are taken for questioning. One of them hands over a card bearing the name Eun Chan-woo, which no one recognizes. When asked about their group size, they reveal there are 3 more guys, annoying Guy Sang as he'll have to deal with them too. Guy Sang pledges to track down the impersonators of the Fire Bear gang. His uncles decide to come up with a strategy to locate the other 3. Just as Guy Sang is about to update Jae-wook, one uncle suggests that they should locate them first before telling anyone. Guy Sang thinks that's a good plan. Unexpectedly, one of the imposters walks into their hideout. A previously captured guy tries to warn him, but one of the uncles knocks him out. Suddenly, 2 girls walk in. The uncles are unsure of what to do next. Guy Sang tries talking to them, but they get scared and run away. The uncles chase after them but are forced back after being accused of harassment. However, they do manage to snatch one of the girls' shoes. Meanwhile, the blue-haired guy wakes up. Guy Sang wants answers about Eun Chan-woo, The blue-haired guy agrees to talk if his family is kept safe. He admits he hasn't met Eun Chan Woo but got a card from Park Woo-hung, who had attacked their young master before. They find out that Park Woo-hung goes to Mujin High School. Gai Sang takes his phone and gives him money to buy a new one. Leaving, Gai Sang tells Jun Hoo to watch the prisoners and hands him a razor, hinting it might be used. Elsewhere, Lee Yeji and Jiyoung are chatting about their hopes and dreams. Lee Yeji wants to be a good wife, and Jiyoung, who once dreamed of helping people and being with Soo Jin, now aspires to lead the Fire Bear gang. Lee Yeji finds this super cool. Jiyoung thanks her for helping him towards this dream. He gets a call and has to leave her. When Jiyoung gets home, he finds out his dad is back. His dad praises him for being the top dog at Ji-ran High School. He seems to have found out from Gai Sang, who looks guilty when Jiyoung looks his way. His dad has a gift for him, a cute, squeaky bear. Jiyoung names it Han Gam. On the rooftop, his dad gets emotional, proud of his son's achievements, and urges Jiyoung to unite the area. As they go back downstairs, his dad asks Jae-wook to come with him and tells him about Kim Min-woo, a member of C1's gang, who was involved in attacking their young master and is now seen in underground fight arenas run by their rivals, the Red Dragon Gang. He wants Jae-wook to dig up info on Kim Min-woo. As a token of appreciation, he gives Jae-wook a check which, to Jae-wook's surprise, is for 100 million. Back at the hideout, Jun Hoo is shaving the heads of the captured guys and checks one of their phones. Jae-wook finds out about the last two members of the group, one of whom had attacked their young master. Inside, he has a heart-to-heart with Gai Sang. Gai Sang tells him that the boss has been coming over more often, suggesting that he might be losing trust in the other families. This worries Jae-wook, especially when the topic of C1's family comes up, along with Kim Min-woo's recent activities in the underground fight clubs. This news upsets Gai Sang. Jae-wook thinks they need someone to secretly investigate these arenas. Gai Sang offers, but Jae-wook says he's too recognizable. They think of someone else who could do it, and Jae-wook agrees to let Gai Sang handle it. Meanwhile, Jong Yoon lets Jiyoung know about a group date planned for the next day. Gai Sang hears this and takes Jiyoung aside. In private, Gai Sang shows Jiyoung a photo of the dropout gang, asking if he recognizes anyone. Jiyoung identifies his attacker, which worries Gai Sang. If C1 was behind the attack, it could mean trouble for the gang. Feeling the pressure, Gai Sang decides he needs to update Jae-wook immediately. Jiyoung, concerned, asks if Gai Sang is alright. Trying to shield the young master from further stress, Gai Sang brushes it off. As they're discussing, Gai Sang is also helping Jiyoung get ready for his date. The next day, Jun Min meets a dressed-up Jong Yoon and is surprised when Jiyoung shows up looking super stylish. Jun Min, feeling a bit envious, persuades Jiyoung to tone down his look. As they wait for their dates, Jiyoung decides to use the alias Dong Ji-yu. When the girls arrive, one of them, Chai Yoon, is impressed by Jiyoung. Jun Min gets increasingly jealous as Chai Yoon gives Jiyoung more attention, even suggesting they all go to a cafe together. They hang out, go to karaoke, and have a good time. All the while, Jun Min feels left out, especially when Chai Yoon asks Jiyoung for his number. As they're about to part ways, Jiyoung gets a text from Myung-jun about a party. He leaves Jun Min behind and meets up with Jong Sok, who's holding a bat, just in case. They arrive at an apartment and are greeted by Chai Yoon, which shocks Jiyoung. As he enters, Jiyoung notices she resembles someone he knows, Soo Jin. Myung-jun welcomes everyone and asks them to relax. Chai Yoon learns that Jiyoung's actual name isn't Dong Ji-yu. They begin the evening with some beers, and one of the girls gets flirty with Jong Sok. The main discussion of the evening revolves around Myung-jun proposing an alliance to take down a shared adversary. They step outside to think it over. Jong Sok says he'll support Jiyoung's choice, considering Jiyoung's leadership role at Ji-ran High. On returning, Jiyoung agrees to the alliance, and Myung-jun suggests their first mission be against Majin High. As the evening winds down, Chai Yoon pulls Jiyoung aside. She confesses she's smitten with him and plants a kiss on him, marking him as hers. A flustered Jiyoung says his goodbyes, realizing he's just had his first kiss. When he gets home, his uncles detect the smell of alcohol and smoke. Gai Sang checks him and finds out Jiyoung drank. Jiyoung clarifies he hasn't smoked but was around smokers, which pleases them. As he heads to his room, Jiyoung receives a text from Chai Yoon and reminisces about the kiss, but a call from Lee Yeji distracts him. He informs her about the new alliance with Myung-jun, which catches her off guard. Mention of Chai Yoon irritates her, and she worries about what might have happened between them. Meanwhile, in prison, Shin Jong-chul is unnerved by a visit from Gai Sang. Jong-chul tries to provoke Gai Sang, but he remains calm, even when taunted. Gai Sang eventually loses patience and lashes out, causing a stir among the prison guards. Gai Sang hints at connections inside the prison, pressuring Jong-chul to reveal that Park Woo-jang is the assailant they're looking for. After leaving the prison, Gai Sang meets with Jun-hoo, who mentions he's made arrangements inside for Jong-chul. They ponder tracking down the remaining gang members and decide to use Han Gam, a bear with a keen sense of smell, to help. They feed Han Gam, and the bear quickly picks up a scent, leading them on their search. Gai Sang admires the bear's sharp instincts. Meanwhile, Shin Jong-chul is in the shower, deep in thought about his predicament. Suddenly, two members of the Fire Bear gang approach him, asking for help scratching their backs since they can't reach. He hesitates, unsure why he should assist them, but soon finds himself in a compromising situation when one of them intentionally drops the soap, causing him to panic. Later, we see him in his cell, curled up in fear. Gai Sang and Hang-gun continue their search. Concerned that Han Gam has lost his wilderness skills from being indoors too long, Gai Sang decides to take him on a hiking trip to help him regain his natural instincts. The following day, in class, Lee Yeji pulls Ji-young aside to talk privately. John Min and Sang Ji-yu, already annoyed with her, watch as they head to the rooftop. Yeji confronts Ji-young about the alliance and what transpired at the party. He panics, insisting that nothing happened, but she senses something is off and leaves, dissatisfied. After school, the boys head to Ji-young's house to see Han Gam, only to discover that Gai Sang has taken him out for training. In the mountains, Gai Sang and Han Gam find a spot previously visited with the young master. Gai Sang leaves Han Gam momentarily to find food and encounters a wild boar. The boar charges, and Gai Sang defends himself with a headbutt. Believing the boar is defeated, he strikes again, but his legs give out and the boar escapes. Gai Sang remembers a past encounter with a boar where he spared its life at the young master's request. Suddenly, Han Gam growls. The boar has returned, this time with its mother. Realizing the danger Han Gam is in, Gai Sang takes on the boars. He sustains a minor injury but manages to knock himself unconscious in the process. Meanwhile, Han Gam fights bravely, eventually bringing down the larger boar. The next day, as Gai Sang cooks the boar meat, Han Gam wakes up. Gai Sang rewards him with a necklace. When they return home, the bandages on Han Gam reveal an X-shaped scar, identical to Gai Sang's, which astonishes Ji-young. As Myung Jin talks with his crew, he lets them know they formed an alliance with Ji-young, advising them not to cause any harm to students from Ji-ren High School. Meanwhile, Ji-young gathers his former school bullies and shares that they've joined forces with Sanjeom High to collectively take down Majin High. Jong-sok reveals their plan to attack in a week's time and invites them for some training, to which they agree. At another part of the school, Jong-min is feeling upset because Chae-yoon seems to be more interested in Ji-young than in him. He asks Jong-yoon to set up another group date, instructing him to lie by saying Ji-young will be joining, even though he won't be. Lee Yeji, overhearing their conversation, steps in and suggests they follow her lead to ensure everything works out. During class, Chae-yoon receives a message about the upcoming group date. When the girls and guys gather, she questions Ji-young's absence. Jong-yoon, sticking to the plan, lies, saying Ji-young is tied up with other commitments. Speculation arises about Jong-sok potentially replacing Ji-young, but to everyone's disappointment, it's actually Sang Ji-yu who shows up, introducing himself in a rather embarrassing manner. It becomes apparent that bringing Sang Ji-yu was part of Jong-min's strategy to make himself look better by comparison. He announces he'll be treating everyone, prompting the girls to think of an expensive place to eat. Just as one of them is about to suggest steak, Jong-min suggests a humble bowl of warm rice soup instead, frustrating her. Sang Ji-yu, not helping the situation, suggests rice cakes, which only adds to the girls' displeasure. As they start eating, Sang Ji-yu complains about the food being too spicy, annoying the girls even more. Despite this, they tolerate his presence due to his association with Ji-young. Suddenly, Sang Ji-yu announces he urgently needs to use the restroom and asks Jong-min to accompany him. Jun-min's surprise, spit water on Chae-yoon's face. Chae-yoon remains composed, reminding herself it's all for Ji-young. Jong-min instructs Sang Ji-yu to go around the corner to use the restroom. As he tries to, he encounters a group of Sanjeom High students outside. Sang Ji-yu, seeing them smoking, tells them not to do it in front of the restroom. When they refuse, he threatens to have Ji-young beat them up. Young Ji-young questions Sang-goo's friendship with Ji-young, suggesting he bring Ji-young around next time. Despite a friend's warning not to mess with Ji-ren High students, young Ji-young punches Sang-ji-yu after he threatens to tell Ji-young about him. Unable to hold it any longer, Sang-ji-yu wets his pants, shocking everyone. From a distance, Jong-min watches, and as young Ji-young laughs at Sang-ji-yu, he realizes some urine has landed on his shoe. In his frustration, he rubs his shoe on Sang-goo's hair and demands he clean it. Noticing Jong-min from afar, young Ji-young calls him over. Jong-min pretends not to know Sang-ji-yu, but Sang-ji-yu, desperate, screams his name. Annoyed that Jong-min is abandoning his friend and at his breaking point, young Ji-young ends up punching both Sang-ji-yu and Jong-min, leaving them lying on the floor as he walks away. Back at the cafe, the girls grow impatient, wondering why the boys haven't returned. Unable to handle the situation any longer, Cha-yoon attempts to call Ji-young, but Lee Yeji tells him not to answer. She explains she doesn't like it, and Ji-young, respecting her wishes, doesn't pick up the call. Frustrated with everything that has happened, Jong-min stands up while Sang-ji-yu remains on the ground, crying and vowing revenge. Meanwhile, Ji-young receives a call from a distressed Jong-min. Ji-young learns from Jun-min that they were attacked by young Ji-young from Sandom High. Ji-young is upset that his request for an alliance was disregarded, leading to this situation. Meanwhile, young Ji-young mocks the situation, and Myung-jun confronts him about it. Young Ji-young brags that he punched one of Ji-young's friends, who ended up wetting his pants. Myung-jun challenges if that's truly funny to young Ji-young. Suddenly, Ji-young receives a call from Myung-jun, who apologizes for not being aware of the incident sooner. He promises to come to the school the next day to apologize in person. Later, Ji-young meets Jong-sok, who's armed with a bat. Observing this, a teacher is concerned and contacts Wang Dae-hyeon, urging him to address the delinquent behavior at school by the end of the month. As Myung-jun and young Ji-young arrive at the school president watches from above. Ji-young meets them and emphasizes the importance of a sincere apology. Myung-jun and young Ji-young kneel in apology. Ji-young acknowledges Myung-jun but turns his attention to young Ji-young, suggesting he owes Jun-min and Sang-ji-yu an apology. The duo then emerges from hiding. Sang-ji-yu taunts young Ji-young, and the situation escalates. To make amends, young Ji-young offers money from his wallet, but Sang-ji-yu wants more. He wants to see young Ji-young in the same embarrassing situation. Ji-young proposes a compromise, allowing Sang-ji-yu to punch young Ji-young, mirroring what young Ji-young did to him. However, during the altercation, Sang-ji-yu believes his hit didn't connect properly because young Ji-young tripped, but Ji-young calms him down. As tensions remain high, Wang Dae-hyeon steps in, criticizing their presence at the school. The school president intervenes, slapping Myung-jun. Everyone is stunned by the president's violent behavior. Ji-young steps in between to prevent another punch, taking a hit himself. He defends Myung-jun and young Ji-young, emphasizing they came to apologize. A flashback reveals a conversation where it's hinted there was an incident involving someone named Ji-hyeon. Do Park had asked the school president to show mercy. In the present, Myung-jun wants to discuss the Ji-hyeon situation but decides to postpone it, asking the president if his phone number is still the same to connect later. Later, it becomes apparent that the school president knew Ji-hyeon's incident was accidental but needed a scapegoat. At Majin High, students are seen worshipping. The boss, Do Won-hyo, meets with school executives who inform him about Ji-young's alliance with Myung-jun, which irritates Won-hyo. He visits the chairman for counsel. During a call, it's revealed that Majin High students are potential recruits for the Red Dragon Gang, rivals of the Fire Bear Gang. Upon entering, Won-hyo, chairman hide his dragon tattoo, pretending to be Monk Dal-min, is actually the Red Dragon Gang's second-in-command, Park Dal-min. Later, Jong-sok is seen training bullies, emphasizing the value of a week's training. They practice boxing and fundamental techniques. Elsewhere, Ji-young is at Lee Yeji's apartment, thanking her for her help. She suggests watching a movie after his upcoming fight. Ji-young suggests inviting others, but she wants it to be just them. As Ji-young leaves, Do Park, Yeji's brother, approaches her, discussing the resolved misunderstanding with Myung-jun and the school president. He suggests they visit Ji-hyeon in the hospital, and Yeji agrees. The next day, as Ji-young gets ready to leave, Gai Sang, concerned for his safety, offers him a knife, which Ji-young declines. Ji-young meets his allies and they head to Majin High. There, They see students playing soccer. A ball rolls their way, and as Myung-jun retrieves it, they're recognized. Won Hyo confronts them, angered at Myung-jun's perceived betrayal. A fight ensues. Ji-young mistakenly thinks he's taken down Won Hyo, but the students look similar. As an attacker moves on Ji-young, Jong-sok jumps in to defend him. Simultaneously, Myung-jun shows off his combat skills, taking down multiple opponents. An adversary with a unique weapon, a rosary, manages to strike Myung-jun. It's revealed that each executive at Majin High has a special weapon. Myung-jun barely dodges subsequent attacks and, while retreating, is punched by another executive and falls. Young Ji-yeon yells as an executive is about to deliver a finishing blow to Myung-jun. Surprisingly, executive punched by Young Ji-yeon and taunts him to pick on someone his own size. From afar, the chairman watches, thinking they're winning. He comments that they underestimated Jong-sok from Ji-ran High, who's dominating several students. Park Bong, clearly nervous, challenges Jong-sok, who easily disarms him and lands several blows. During this, Ji-young and Won Hyo face off. Won Hyo's punch is easily avoided and countered by Ji-young, who is taken aback by how easily he subdued him. Suddenly, the chairman tosses Won Hyo a unique weapon, a wooden fish. As Ji-young mocks him for using weapons, Won Hyo's stick unexpectedly extends, turning into a baton that he uses against Ji-young. Out of the blue, Won Hyo starts a unique technique. The chairman, wanting to avoid direct involvement, uses a mirror to blind Ji-young with sunlight. Together, they ignite the wooden fish, and Ji-young struggles to dodge Won Hyo's aggressive moves. Watching closely, Gai Sang, disguised as a monk, decides he'll take out Won Hyo if Ji-young loses. Ji-young manages to block some hits but sustains injuries. Spotting an opportunity, Ji-young lunges at Won Hyo. Meanwhile, Gai Sang uses his knife to shine light in Won Hyo's eyes. Using a signature move, Ji-young brings Won Hyo down, taking his weapon and repeatedly striking him with it. When another executive tries to intervene, Ji-young hits him too, declaring victory. As they prepare to leave, a humbled Won Hyo kneels before Ji-young, much to everyone's surprise. He suggests they can be of assistance. Ji-young responds with a speech that makes Gai Sang proud. He demands that Majin High remain neutral in any battles against Mujin High and warns of consequences for any betrayal. As they leave, Ji-young tells Won Hyo they should get along, discuss celebrating later. Ji-young shares that he's watching a movie with Lee Yeji. Myung-jun gives Cha-yoon a call, inviting her to the party, but she's curious to know if Ji-young will be attending. Upon hearing that Ji-young has plans to watch a movie with Lee Yeji, Cha-yoon is noticeably disappointed. Meanwhile, Lee Yeji is at the cinema, eagerly awaiting Ji-young's arrival. When Ji-young shows up, Lee Yeji can't help but notice his bruises and takes a moment to tend to them before the movie begins. They share a nostalgic moment, reminiscing about the time Ji-young attempted to protect her from Shin Jong-chul, albeit with a slight mishap. As they make their way into the theater, Ji-young realizes he has accidentally booked the couple's seats, catching Lee Yeji by surprise. Their hands meet in the popcorn bucket, leading to a fleeting moment of eye contact before they both look away. After the movie, they decide to do some shopping, but their day takes an unexpected turn when Cha-yoon shows up, claiming to have been intimate with Ji-young. She insists that she and Ji-young have shared experiences that Lee Yeji could only imagine, leaving her feeling uneasy. Confused and upset, Lee Yeji turns to Ji-young for answers, but he hesitates, unsure of what to say. Disappointed by his reaction, Lee Yeji decides to leave. Ji-young, realizing what he's about to lose, calls out to her, asking her to come back. He takes a moment to reflect on their time together, ultimately choosing to apologize to Cha-yoon before chasing after Lee Yeji. Frustrated by the rejection, Cha-yoon vows to reveal her true colors soon. Catching up to Lee Yeji, Ji-young earnestly tells her that she means the world to him. Confused, Lee Yeji questions his intentions, wondering how he can act so innocently around her while maintaining a close relationship with Cha-yoon. Ji-young assures her that nothing serious happened between him and Cha-yoon, explaining that she had taken him by surprise with a kiss. Lee Yeji decides to believe him, and they continue their evening, grabbing a bite to eat. During their meal, Lee Yeji asks Ji-young to clarify what he meant when he called her important. He explains that she is his closest female friend, a response that she somewhat expected, given his apparent cluelessness about romantic relationships. As they finish up and head home, Ji-young's mood suddenly changes upon seeing a car parked outside his house. He tells Lee Yeji to go home, leaving her taken aback by his abrupt change in demeanor. Inside the house, Ji-young's uncles are trying to persuade some women to leave. Realizing that it's too late to avoid a confrontation, Ji-young walks in and demands that his mother leave the house immediately, stunning the uncles and his mother alike. He gives her a final warning before turning his attention to the uncles, demanding an explanation for why his mother was allowed into his home in the first place. The scene takes us back to when a young Ji-young is with his mom. He questions her choice of shoes, which are actually the first pair he ever gave her, making them special. His mom hopes he'll grow up to be a good person, unlike his gangster father, and that he'll lead the life he chooses. That night, Ji-young overhears his parents fighting. His dad wants him to follow in his footsteps, but his mom refuses, insisting she won't let Ji-young be a gangster. Despite their disagreements, he admits he still loves her since she was the first woman he truly loved. Later, while Ji-young sleeps, his mom visits, confessing her current helplessness but promising to come back once she has the power to change things. She then departs, leaving Ji-young searching for her the next morning. His dad, however, claims he doesn't know her whereabouts, breaking Ji-young's heart. Later, Ji-young finds the special shoes in his closet and clings to the hope of his mom's return. As time drags on, Ji-young's hope turns to tears. When he hears a door opening, he mistakenly thinks it's his mom, but it's just Jae-wook, which further saddens him. At school, Ji-young gets mocked for not having a mom, leading him to lash out. He notices Soo-jin being bullied for the same reason. As Ji-young grows up, his dad repeatedly tries to replace his biological mom with different women. Ji-young, frustrated with his dad's attempts, keeps pushing them away. But one day, a woman who resembles his real mom catches his attention, and he starts to accept her. The next day, Ji-young returns home and hears a familiar voice. He rushes to the door, thinking it's his mom, but finds the woman wearing a wig. She tries explaining that she wore it to look like his real mom, but a hurt Ji-young runs away. Upon reflection, Ji-young returns to apologize. However, she overhears a call between Jae-wook and his dad, discussing potentially naming someone else as the successor to their gang. This terrifies the new mom, fearing Ji-young would be neglected if he isn't the successor. When Ji-young comes home from school with injuries, she realizes he got into a fight. She reminds him of his position as Han Cook's son and future gang leader, urging him not to get hurt. Ji-young thinks back to his biological mom's wishes for him and declares he doesn't want the gangster life. The new mom tells Ji-young to forget his biological mom, which upsets him. Remembering the special shoes he gave her, he runs outside in the rain, yearning for her presence. Returning home, he finds the shoes gone. The new mom admits she threw them away, leading to a heated argument about Ji-young's tendency to run away, hinting he might be like his biological mom, which makes Ji-young even angrier. He asks her to leave, but she insists it's her house too. Things get heated as she acts smug, which upsets Ji-young. He eventually tells her to go, and she taunts him before leaving. Later, Ji-young questions why she returned. Jae-wook admits he's to blame and wants to explain. As they talk, Jae-wook shares that he sees Ji-young struggling with both his gang responsibilities and school. He tells Ji-young about losing his own parents young and feeling overwhelmed. Jae-wook apologizes, and Ji-young responds by saying he doesn't want to see her again. Ji-young thanks Jae-wook and the uncles for their support. Back home, Ji-young tells the uncles he won't tolerate her entering his home again. The next day, on his way to school, Ji-young meets Lee Yeji. She's curious about his recent behavior, but he seems fine. They run into Jong-sok, and Ji-young suggests confronting their rivals at Moojin High. Lee Yeji disagrees, advising patience. At Moojin High, students gossip about Ji-young's reputation. Then, Dae-wong overhears them. Do Park meets with the school president, discussing Moojin High's shady reputation. It's revealed Ji Hyeon, injured in a prior incident, is the president's brother. Myung-jun learns that Moojin High is run by a few tough individuals, and rumors link Dae-wong to a gang. Do Park goes to Moojin High, where he's confronted. He recognizes Shin Ji-ho. As Dae-wong gets a call from Chan-woo, Do Park eavesdrops, wondering if he knows the caller. Do Park tries to follow Dae-wong but gets sidetracked. After class, Sang Ji-yu suggests they all eat together, but Lee Yeji insists Ji-young needs training. Sang Ji-yu is annoyed, feeling Lee Yeji is coming between him and Ji-young. He says he'll stand up to her someday. While grabbing some food, Cha-yoon sees them and tries to lay low. But after hearing them talk about Ji-young, she joins them, making Jun-min happy. At the gym, everyone's training when Myung-jun brings news about Moojin High. He says 5 of their guys are as tough as Jong-sok, which worries the Jiren High crew. Ji-young said that they are comparing themselves with Jong-sok of the past, but now Jong-sok is many times stronger than in the past. Do Park gets a call and meets Guy Sang, who's got guys pretending to be part of the Fire Bear gang locked up. Guy Sang thanks Do Park for his help and shares that one of these fakes is Eun Chan-woo. Do Park recalls that Dae Wong talked to someone by that name. Guy Sang explains that the Red Dragon gang is pretending to be the Fire Bear gang to avoid getting caught. Guy Sang tasks Do Park with infiltrating the Red Dragon gang. Back at the gym, Myung-jun shares with Ji-young and Jong-sok that Dae Wong might be connected to the Red Dragon gang. They also hear rumors about older guys attending Mujin High to learn how to be better gangsters. Jong-sok calms Myung-jun, saying they're safe from the Red Dragon gang as long as they're with the Fire Bear gang. Meanwhile, Dae Wong meets with Min-woo, C1's right-hand guy. Min-woo says Ji-young's a problem and asks Dae Wong to handle it. Min-woo hints that Dae Wong can ask for help from Ji-yeon-woo, Chan-woo's little brother. Dae Wong thinks this might be a way to target Jong-sok. Back at the cafe, Cha-yoon tries to figure out what the guys were talking about. Jong-yoon brushes it off, mentioning they're there because of Lee Yeji's recommendation, which makes Sang Ji-yu mad. As they leave, Cha-yoon asks Sang Ji-yu to chat. Jun-min's annoyed. In an alley, Cha-yoon asks Sang Ji-yu if he smokes. Trying to look cool, he says yes, even though he doesn't know how to smoke. Cha-yoon helps Sang Ji-yu light a cigarette. He tries it but doesn't like it, though he pretends otherwise. Sang Ji-yu wonders why she wants to chat. She admits she's not a fan of Lee Yeji, which pleases Sang Ji-yu since they now have that in common. He says he plans to confront Lee Yeji, and Cha-yoon offers to back him up. After Do Park's chat with Guy Sang, he gets a card to infiltrate the Red Dragon's place. He's annoyed and wishes Lee Yeji had just charmed Ji-young so he wouldn't have to do this risky job. When he gets home, he's frustrated with Lee Yeji for not doing it. She's confused by his mood, but he tells her to drop it. Later, Lee Yeji gets a call from Sang Ji-yu who asks her to meet at a park. When Lee Yeji gets there, Cha-yoon gives Sang Ji-yu a pep talk. She advises him on how to provoke Lee Yeji by making up a story about Ji Hyeon getting hurt. As Lee Yeji approaches, Jun-min tosses Sang Ji-yu some stylish suspenders, boosting his confidence. Sang Ji-yu accuses Lee Yeji of causing Ji Hyeon's accident. She gets mad and slaps him. When Sang Ji-yu tries to retaliate, she keeps dodging and counters his moves. But with the help of his new suspenders, Sang Ji-yu lands a slap. The fight continues, with each of them landing blows. But the suspenders throw off Sang-goo's balance, and he falls. Lee Yeji mocks him. As they continue to exchange words and blows, Sang Ji-yu brings up Ji-en. Lee Yeji dismisses the comment, questioning if Sang Ji-yu thinks Ji-young would actually side against her. Sang Ji-yu warns Lee Yeji to back off, but she hits him. He calls for Cha-yoon's help, but she hides. Taking the chance, Sang Ji-yu runs to the restroom where young Ji-yeon is. Young Ji-yeon tries to make up with Sang Ji-yu and embraces him, but it gets awkward when Sang Ji-yu has an embarrassing accident. Up on the roof, Myung-jun gets a call from young Ji-yeon about what happened. Ji-young, curious, asks about it. Meanwhile, Jun-min confronts Cha-yoon for setting up the whole mess. He has proof on his phone since Sang Ji-yu used Cha-yoon's phone earlier. He tells Cha-yoon he'll keep her secret if she meets his demands, and she agrees. Ji-young finds Lee Yeji in the park and notices her face is bruised. She brushes it off, but he demands answers. Sang Ji-yu shows up, emotional, blaming Lee Yeji for attacking him. Ji-young is confused since both have injuries. Sang Ji-yu, pressured, blames Cha-yoon for everything. But when Jun-min and Cha-yoon arrive, she denies any involvement. Sang Ji-yu asks Jun-min to show the evidence, but Jun-min plays dumb. Turns out, Jun-min wanted to get back at Sang Ji-yu for being annoying. Sang Ji-yu gets desperate to prove himself and grabs Ji-young. Ji-young pushes back, asking if Sang Ji-yu hit Lee Yeji. Sang Ji-yu admits he did, but only in defense. He adds that he was set up to provoke her. Ji-young warns Sang Ji-yu to stay away from Lee Yeji or their friendship is over. Curious about what comes next? Click on this video to continue. And don't forget to like and subscribe.